Alright, what's up guys? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Play TCG match, and this is going to be another deck where I'm using Zeals. I apologize for those of you who don't like watching the matches with the top tier decks. I know some of you get a little bored with it, but I just don't have as much time to play. Actually, I guess I have about the same amount of time, but it's harder to find opponents on Play TCG, and I can't just keep going to the random match finder like I could with TCGO, so I kind of want to use good decks. It just makes it a lot harder to use some of the other decks that I would make back when I could use Play TCGO. So I tend to stick with the two decks that I really feel like I have a good list with, and that's Zeals and Darkrai. So that's why I've been uploading so many of those. Just really the only decks I've felt comfortable playing against people that actually know what they're doing, because like I said, I can't go into random match. So here I get a pretty fantastically bad starting hand, all three of my Zekrums and no energy. So I actually make an opening misplay, benching that Dynamo. Normally, as long as you have a nice beefy starter, it's okay to wait until it's your turn to put those down. So by benching it, I actually gave him a free prize on turn 1, as he's got a Mewtwo and DCE and Catcher all on the first turn. So that's really unfortunate for me. And then to top it off, I flipped Double Tails on Dual Ball, because that's how I do with the first Dual Ball. I do top deck the N, which is helpful because I really didn't want to have to Juniper away that stuff in my hand. So now I'm going to take a while to think about what I want to do. I could attach the DCE and Outrage for 20, but then Mewtwo is going to be able to hit me for 50, 80, possibly 100. So in the end, I decide I'll go ahead and attach the Lightning Energy instead. I'm pretty sure this Zekrom is basically a goner. I'll probably get one Outrage before I go down, and I want to put some Lightning Energy into the discard pile, because that way I can get it back with Zeal. So with Eel, sorry, not Zeal, that's the deck name. So on his side of the board, you'll notice that he benched that Tornadus EX. He actually did that on his opening turn, and I really don't like that play, especially since he saw he was facing an Eels variant. Maybe he was thinking I might play Terrakion, but even then, I think you kind of need to wait until you see it, and dealing with one Terrakion really isn't too bad for an opposing Zeal deck. You also notice that he plays Collector, which works out for him on the first turn, because he's able to get all of his Eels, and he has it and an energy in his hand. So that was good for him. He actually had a really, really fantastic opening hand, actually. He had everything he needed. So his list is, I want to say it's a little bit outdated. It's not bad by any means, but it's just a little different. He's got, you saw there, he had the Collectors. He actually is still playing Zekrom EX, which is going to show up here later. But, yeah, it's just almost like it's still built for last format. But he does play Ultra Ball, so obviously he's added the new cards. And Zekrom is still not a bad card by any means, especially if you anticipate playing against decks that are going to have stuff with really that are going to play stage 2s. Zekrom EX is really good at knocking things out in one hit, so it's not a bad card. I don't think it's the best choice for Zeals, but it certainly can work out. So anyhow, that is not the issue right now. I finally hit heads on my Dual Ball, and I'm going to think about what I want to grab here. Obviously, grabbing another Dynamo is risky, because if he has a Catcher, he's just going to be able to kill it. But now that I have a Zekrom with 2 energy, I can threaten an attacker. I can threaten an attack if he does choose to go for the Eel instead. So I feel okay benching it down, just hoping that I can get another Eel into play, because that's going to make things a lot easier. Obviously, with my energy acceleration, it's going to allow me to charge up attackers much quicker than just having one. So I do decide to go ahead and bench it, and then I Outrage for 80 on the Mewtwo. So I also could have gone for my own Mewtwo there, and then I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to KO, so that would have been a bad idea. Never mind. But here he's going to Junk Arm for a catcher again, and so my thoughts were great. Just what I was afraid of. He's going to KO my eel. I was hoping he would go after Zekrom since it poses a more immediate threat, but nope, he's going to go after my eel. So he actually decides to catcher up my electric, though, and I do not like that play. You actually see me almost grab the Dynamo because I was just anticipating him wanting to drag that up, but he goes for the eel instead, and then he plays an N. So this is a really strange choice, in my opinion. Like, late game, catcher N can be absolutely devastating, but I haven't even taken a prize yet, so there's a really good chance of me hitting something that's going to be able to get me out of that situation. Unfortunately, I don't get it off of this hand. I get a whole bunch of supporters and a random receiver, so that's a little unfortunate, but I still am going to have a shot at trying to get a switch. I do play 2 in the deck, and I could also hit a DCE, which would let me get out of there too. So since I did get the eel in my hand, I'm going to use the level ball to grab Smeargle, because Smeargle is one of the best cards in the format right now, which is really strange, just because no one used him for the longest time. It's really amazing how fast the metagame can shift, and how cards that people just kind of written off can become really good, because even decks that don't play Skyro are using Smeargle now, and they could have been doing that all along. Granted, having Skyro in play does mean that when your opponent has it down, it makes your Smeargle better, but still, I'm surprised more people didn't use the card before, myself included. I never used Smeargle until we got Skyro. So anyhow, back to the match. I realized that I'm stuck active. I did not hit a switch or a DCE, which sucks for me, and so I just attached the lightning energy to my other Zekrom, because I know that the one with the 2 energy is gonna go down if he attacks it again, so I'd rather be able to put the energy onto the second Zekrom and have him easier to charge up if I need him next turn. So here my opponent is going to take a while to think about what he wants to do. Also, at this point, there was some confusion. Not quite yet, but it will be coming up. It won't matter that much, though, so I'll probably just skip over it so that I don't confuse you guys. But yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking about here. Probably trying to decide what he wants to attack, because he could, I believe he hasn't attached for the turn yet, so he could attach to his Mewtwo and take a prize on my eel, or he's got a Junk Arm in his hand and he's looking at the both of our discard piles right now, trying to decide what he wants to do. So in the end, he decides that he is going to Junk Arm for the catcher and is going to take out my Zekrom instead. And again, I'm not sure how I feel about this play either. He went through all the trouble to drag the eel up there, and now he's just going to let me switch it back. So he would have been, I think he would have just been better off killing the eel. I mean, Zekrom's going to come up and take out the Mewtwo anyhow, and then it would just go down because of the recoil. Pretty much anything would be able to kill it. So I don't know. It does mean that I don't get to get another attack off with that Zekrom, but at the same time, it gets me out of a bad spot for myself, as I still don't have a way to get the eel out of the active if it was there. And it also means that he completely wasted his last attack, because he did 40 damage to my eel and then just kind of left it alone on the bench. So not the best play, I think, but I'm more going to put the misplay on the catching up the eel in the first place rather than deciding to take out the Zekrom. So here I make, I guess, a misplay of my own. I was originally planning on Junipering and then I changed my mind after I played the dual ball and decided that I wanted to end instead. So I junk arm away those 2 lightning energies, and I get double heads on the dual ball, which is nice, but I don't really need anything. So junk arming for it was a complete waste. Since I decided not to play the Juniper to go for the N instead, I wanted to keep the Juniper in my deck for later, in case I get end later. I want to have as many supporters as I can in there to be able to draw into, so that's why I decided to play the N instead. And I also know the N's not going to be too disruptive at this point, but I would have to discard it anyhow, so I figured I may as well go ahead and play it while I'm going to get the maximum 6 cards for it. And then I Dynamotor. I think I decide I don't want to Portrait here. Yeah, my hand is pretty great, so I don't want to Portrait. I actually have the Catcher, which is going to allow me to one-shot that Tornadus EX he dropped on the first turn, and that's huge because it's going to tie up the prize race right away. Unfortunately, I can't seem to hit an Eviolite. I haven't seen one all game, and without it, it is just allowing my Zekrums to be taken out a lot easier. Bolt Strike without the Eviolite does put Zekrom into revengeable range for Mewtwo, which is a problem. And then, like an idiot, I pull my prizes and drop them on the bench, so I show him that I have Mewtwo DCE right off the bat. So now he knows that's going to happen. And yeah, that was really dumb mistake for me. So he actually goes for the Juniper here, which is nice. Gets some more energy in the discard pile for him to use, and gets himself a new hand. And he promotes that Tynamo because Skyro does give it free retreat, so this will give him some time to think about what he wants to do. He's rearranging his bench. Looks like he's planning on dropping something else down. Yep, and he is. So now his bench is full. He actually, here's the drops the Zek EX, and I was really surprised to see that come down. You do not see Zekrom EX very often anymore, so I didn't mind seeing it though. It's big and fat, and it's my win. Like, if I can KO the Mewtwo and then take out that Zekrom, I win. So that is going to be my game plan. I just need to make that happen, and I need to be careful about it because he only has 3 prizes left. So that means if I lose a Mewtwo, he's only going to have to take 1 more prize. And for that reason, I need to be very careful about dropping a Mewtwo to revenge him here. The fact that I have that Zekrom down is actually going to be really important here because the only supporter I have is Juniper, and I do not want to Juniper away all of those DCEs and 2 of my Mewtwo's. So I'm going to actually have to attack with Zekrom here. So I do go ahead and drop the 1 Mewtwo. Definitely was risky, but and actually in retrospect it probably was a misplay, but at the time I was thinking, well, I need to be careful of an N here because I'm going to drop down to 2 prizes. So if I get end, I want to have a Mewtwo ready to respond. And that would have been good thinking if I hadn't decided to junk arm again for a catcher. So once again, I had thought I was going to play the Juniper, and then I changed my mind mid-turn, and it really messes me up. So as soon as I dropped that Mewtwo, I should have gone through with the Juniper plan to, or not even the Juniper, I should have at least killed the Mewtwo, because leaving it on the board means that he can just drop another DCE or even Dynamotor 3 times to get enough energy to KO my Mewtwo, even though I don't have any energy on me. So again, I flip-flop in the middle of my turn, and it ends up putting me in a really bad spot. So I do junk arm for the catcher here. I decide that I want to drag that Zekrom active because that way he won't be able to Dynamotor onto it, and I can hit it for 120, and that will put both of his EXs into KO range. But if that was going to be what I did, I should not have dropped the Mewtwo. I probably should have kept it in my hand. But I really think the better play was just taking out the Mewtwo that I had there. I don't know why I did this. And even at this point in the game, like as soon as I dropped that Mewtwo, I was like, well, that was really dumb. And then I just kind of played through the turn and did more stupid things, and it was really bad. So it's going to put me in pretty big trouble here the next couple of turns. So I do go for the portrait there because I was hoping I'd be able to get a hand refresh without needing to discard all that stuff, and if worse came to worse, I could just Juniper. But it turns out he had an Oak, so I am able to hit that. I really would have liked an N, but Oak is the second best choice, so I'm able to shuffle those cards back into my deck without being forced to discard them. And then I just hit him for 120. I did see, though, when he portraited, he had the switch, so I know that he's going to be able to get the Zekrom onto the bench. Luckily for me, he doesn't have any free retreaters, so he'll at least have to pay energy, but it's still not that big a deal. He could switch into either Zekrom or Mewtwo, and then just pay 1 energy to retreat them. So what he decides to do instead is drop 3 energies onto his Mewtwo, so he now has 5 energies on it. That is enough for him to be able to KO my Mewtwo without having any energy on it, and then he plays a Juniper too, which, again, I knew he had. I saw his hand last turn. So all he needs to do here is hit a catcher or a junk arm, and he'll be able to catcher out my Mewtwo and take 2 more prizes and put me at a single prize. And that would be really bad because the only attacker I have out right now is Zekrom. It's already got 40 damage on it, and that means that either his Zekrom or his Zekrom EX would easily be able to come in and revenge kill it. But luckily for me, he does not hit what he needed, and that's going to give me a chance to squeak my way back into this game. So right here, I go for the Super Rod, put some Zekroms back into my deck because Zekrom's just an amazing attacker. He does 120 damage and only gives up 1 prize. That's really good. So I do that first, and I have the Juniper, but I really need an N. And unfortunately, all of my Ns are gone. I got them all early game, and a couple of times they were really the only supporters I had, so I was kind of forced to play them. That happened on the first turn, and then when I had the Juniper, I didn't want to discard it, so I played the N instead. So I go for the portrait, just praying to God he has an N in there, because he's only used 1. He's discarded 1, so I know he's probably got at least another one in his deck, probably 2 more. And what do you know? He's got it right in there. So that is going to allow me to end him down to 2 cards, which is absolutely huge because he doesn't have any free retreaters on the board. And I did see that he had another Mewtwo. He had gotten it in his hand earlier, so I was able to force him to shuffle the Mewtwo and the DCE he had back into his hand. And now I'm going to be able to Dynamotor and promote Mewtwo. So here, I have those 2 Junipers in my hand. I decide not to play it because I don't really need it. And I'd like to just keep them there. Again, in case I get end, I want supporters in my deck. But I'm just able to X-Ball the injured Mewtwo for the KO. And now he's going to need a lot of stuff. He needs Mewtwo and at least 3 energy to be able to take the win. Now, I know he does have another Mewtwo, and here he gets a level ball off of his N, and to my horror, level balls for Smeargle, which is going to allow him to portrait, and I've got a Juniper, so he's going to get 7 cards. But the silver lining to this is that he did have to use his retreat for the turn in order to get Smeargle active. So now he needs a Mewtwo and a Switch. Or a Junk Arm in order to be able to win the game here. Still only 2 cards, so 2 out of his 7. There's pretty good chance of him hitting that. I can't remember if I checked his discard pile or not, but I think he had only used 2 Junk Arms, so he had at least 1 more in there, and maybe another Switch, depending on how many he's playing. And like I said, I know he's got the Mewtwo because I saw it earlier. So turns out though he didn't get what he needed. He's forced to just attach an Eviolite and pass, and that is going to give me an opportunity to win the game. So I draw my third Juniper here, so I have 3 of them in my hand, but it's fine. It's basically win or lose on this turn, and there we go. I hit a DCE and the catcher, so that is going to let me catcher up Zekrom EX and X-Ball for the win. So that is going to be the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said at the beginning, if Eels isn't your thing, and if Tier 1 decks aren't your thing all the time, I'm really sorry. It's just easier for me to get good matches with when I play good decks. Go figure. But I promise, once TCGO comes back up, I will be doing a lot more just fun, goofy decks. So hang tight, guys. They are coming. I haven't forgotten about those of you who like the random decks. But anyhow, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment about the match. Point out my misplays, because I know you guys love doing that. And yeah, that is going to be the match. I'll have another one coming your way sometime soon, hopefully. Thanks, guys.